It's time to take a ride on the Steelers Afternoon Drive with our co-hosts Alan Saunders and Zachary Smith.
Get in the van. We're going for our Steelers Afternoon Drive. I'm Zachary Smith. That, of course, Alan Saunders. And, of course, it is Friday. It is a game week, so we got DB joining us to preview and predict this game against the Buffalo Bills. DB, how we doing? How was Thanksgiving? And you're muted again to start an episode. I think this is 2 straight weeks.
You just love that. No, I'm doing great. Thanksgiving was great. Black Friday's been going well so far. I mean, we got a football game on a Friday. I'm not a huge fan of like through the week games in general, but every now and then it's kind of fun. It's been a nice little change up to my Friday. So yeah, I'm doing fantastic. Steelers got a nice bone thrown to them last night from the Bengals.
Yes.
So that was helpful.
It almost feels like a win for them. Like, I mean, literally like watching that game and like how I went to bed last night, I was like, this kind of feels like I'm going to bed after a Steelers victory. Yeah. I'm sleeping comfortably tonight.
Yeah.
Alan, how we doing? How was the holiday for you?
Holiday was great. Food, family, football. That's what it's all about. And yeah, today was pretty much a normal Friday for me. Not really anything too different.
Shout out to Brendan Howe for holding it down with you on the afternoon drive.
Yeah, he did a great job, didn't he?
Yeah. I would have to say that you are correct. I think it's the first time in afternoon drive history that we've had two afternoon drives going on simultaneously. Maybe one of these days I'll just like ride my scooter around downtown Monaco while we're doing it. And just like
you don't really get the experience of the afternoon after work drive anymore. You don't have it. You just walk into the other room.
I don't leave this space.
Yeah.
Like until literally from like 7:30 until 6 p.m. This is where I'm at. So anyways, normal Friday stuff, of course. We'll get to the preview and predictions of this game against the Bills. First, we got to go through the injury report, and I think it also would make sense to do the same thing on the Buffalo side of things. But we'll start with the Steelers. The DNPs that we knew in out early in the week, obviously that stayed the same. Broderick Jones, Derek Harmon were rolled out early in the week. We'll see how long those absences are, but that's it, right? Isaac Seumalo gets a DNP because of a rest day, but he's in. Everybody else, Aaron Rodgers set to return. DK Metcalf, who was dealing with the ankle. Ben Skoranek had a couple DNPs with the shoulder, but returned to practice. No injury designation. Joey Porter Jr. with the hip, going to be in there. Alex Highsmith back with a pec injury. And then Cam Hayward, who played last week, even with dealing with that ankle injury, also no injury designation. So good to go, other than the two guys that were rolled out early.
Yeah, pretty much as good of a possible injury report as the Steelers could have gotten. Aaron Rodgers, Mike Tomlin said he did work some under center today. I don't know how much we're going to see him do that in the game. Aaron said, he's had games where he couldn't go under center and they put in like a pistol package. I think that's probably more likely than seeing a whole lot of under center from Aaron Rodgers this week. But I expect him to play. And honestly,
I'm going to guess you can't discuss if we saw that at all.
Cannot.
Okay.
But Aaron did say on Wednesday that that's something he's done in the past.
Okay.
And I don't think it's like I would not expect this injury to significantly impact his performance. Now, that being said, Rodgers was not necessarily playing his best ball before he got hurt, and I would hope that he hopes to be better than that. But I don't think you're going to see a guy out there sort of noticeably injured and kind of unable to do it at all, really.
We can talk about this more, when we get to the preview and stuff like that. But DB and I were talking right before you joined down about the QB play in this one, and the Bears should have just been running the ball pretty much every single snap. I'm wondering if the Steelers should just deploy that same idea on Sunday anyways, regardless of Aaron's health. But we'll get there when we get there. Let's talk about on the Bills side of things. Broderick Jones rolled out for the Steelers at left tackle. Well, Buffalo Bills aren't going to have either of their starting tackles. Deion Dawkins and Spencer Brown both rolled out with injuries. It's funny because like the immediate thought for Steelers fans is like, oh, this is worse news than if these guys were playing. Like, it's just funny the way that we're wired. To think the backups are going to have more success against them, maybe get a little bit more attention, maybe see more chips, and we'll see how they deploy the tight ends and stuff like that. They actually have a really good blocking tight end that's played more, obviously, in the absence of Dalton Kincaid. But when you look at this Bills injury report, no Terrell Bernard either, their defensive captain. So what jumps out to you other than obviously the fact they're not going to have either their starting tackles?
Well, I mean, it's interesting that the backup offensive linemen have been this thing for the Steelers. I asked TJ Watt about it today. He just said, "I don't know. We got to play better." I was really, I don't know, hoping for some insight there. Obviously, I think teams are more in tune with trying to protect their offensive line when they have a backup in there, and maybe the Steelers have just been so susceptible to quick game defensively that, like, the things that the teams ought to be doing against the Steelers anyway sort of coincides with the things that teams do when they're down an offensive lineman. I don't know. It's very strange that a group of edge rushers as talented as the Steelers have not been able to really tee off on some pretty bad offensive lines this year that they've faced, just in terms of who's been available to their opposition.
It doesn't seem like something you can just like say this is the reason why, other than I guess like again the amount of attention. Maybe you're helping those guys out more. The quick game stuff certainly makes sense, but DB, I'll throw this to you and then we can jump right into like previewing the Bills offense versus Steelers defense. Do you think they are a team that can tweak their offense to that way though, like with the way that Josh Allen likes to play, to all of a sudden do what we saw LA do a little bit and speed up the time to throw, do what Jordan Love did with the time to throw? Obviously Flacco we knew was going to want to get rid of the ball quick, but teams that even hadn't prior to when they faced the Steelers sped up their process. Is Buffalo a team you feel like capable of doing so?
Yeah, it's interesting because Joe Brady and the way that the Bills like to operate is a lot of 5-man protection. So they like to get 5 eligibles out in the route. So you saw it last week against Houston when the tackles were very clearly less than 100%, like Will Anderson, Danielle Hunter, like those guys were just like absolutely teeing off on less than healthy offensive tackles. In a weird way, I almost think that like them having their backups like in 10 days to kind of prepare for this matchup, it's almost one of those things where I think they'll have a time to like, you don't have to adjust mid-game. You're going to have time to actually orchestrate a different game plan, knowing that that's not a sufficient way to attack the Steelers. But I mean, I do think from a Bills perspective, this offense, I would say this Bills team is kind of similar to what we saw from the Ravens. Like this iteration of like what we've seen, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, like those like type, like since they've become like MVP caliber players, which has been, a while now, this is the worst roster that they've had around them. The Bills have a really lackluster supporting cast from a receiving course perspective. So like that's always the give and take, right? Like if you start to leave in a bunch of tight ends, you're sacrificing eligibles. They don't have guys that really get open on their own anyway. So, but I do anticipate more chip help in this one rather than like, Will Anderson, Danielle Hunter like completely wrecked the game last week against the Bills. And I just don't think that those guys they're not dumb enough to do that another week against the Steelers.
Yeah,
even though the Steelers are only 22nd in pressure rate this year, I will say that like they're like top 5 in time to pressure, but like the pressure rate numbers have not been like overwhelming. Like
they
like
do also lead the league in time to throw against teams.
Yeah.
Just get rid of the ball
Yeah,
very quickly.
it's the predictability element.
And again, like I was saying, like it's because they don't cover anybody, so there's no downside to getting rid of the ball so quickly against them because there's always somebody open as soon as you could possibly want to throw the ball.
Yeah, absolutely. Alan, do you feel like Josh Allen is the type of player that can all of a sudden within 1 week, like look at this and say, this is what I have to do and just completely transform the way that he plays?
No, and I actually think DB is giving Joe Brady too much credit, because if he was actually smart as DB is saying, they would run the ball with James Cook more often because he's the best part of their offense, and he mostly just stands around. I think no, I don't think first of all, I don't think Josh Allen has the receivers to do that.
Yeah.
I think Josh Allen would do it and can do it. I just don't like. I don't know how you build an offense out of like 2-yard passes to Khalil Shakir and think that's going to work. Like, I mean, against Pittsburgh, it might, and maybe they go down that road. I don't know. I'm not really expecting it, to be honest. I think they're just going to do what they do, which they seem to do every week. I'm sure they'll give more help to the tackles than they did last week. maybe try some more play action, maybe try some more quarterback run. I do think the one thing that the Steelers, like, if the Steelers go play a bunch of cover 3 again, which I'm kind of expecting for better or for worse, it does allow them to pay more attention to Josh Allen. Like, you don't let him become a running back and take over the game with his legs the way he can if you try to play man coverage against him. And the receivers, frankly, stink. So, like, the idea of playing man coverage against them is very attractive. But I think turning your back to Josh Allen is probably a mistake.
I was going to go with the legs next anyway. So DB, I guess you can, the element that Josh Allen obviously brings to the legs, but also James Cook, I do think is a really good running back and needs to stay more engaged in the games than I've seen him be recently. Certainly in that game against Houston, before they really started to tee off, it seemed like they went away from it too soon, and that's happened far too often.
Yeah, I mean, like, even the stuff like Allen splits, like when he's getting the ball quickly and whenever he's not, like, you look at some of the numbers and, quick throws in terms of like EPA per dropback. Allen's 5th this year in those type of settings. He's got 9 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. But if you go look at like when he's actually having to like hold the football, he drops to 12th in EPA per dropback. That's like still like above average. But I think the big thing that stands out to me is you look at some of the other numbers, like he's thrown 9 touchdowns, but he's also thrown 9 picks. And then you look at some of the ways that teams have been able to get after them. He's taken a lot more sacks this season. He's taken 28 sacks when he's held the ball for over 2.5 seconds. Some of that is just like him trying to, I think, you make him hold on to the ball. He starts to play a little bit of like hero ball. And Allen over the last couple of years has cut down on like the negative plays, and he's really transformed his game in that regard. But the big thing is like, you got to kind of pick your poison. And some of that is just coming down to the James Cook element. This is a really good offensive line. Missing both your tackles is going to be key, but they do have good block. They have good blocking tight ends. Dawson Knox, the other guy, their rookie that they got is a really good blocker. And then the interior, they do move people. So you're talking about like, Cook is one of those guys that maybe he has been like underutilized a little bit considering like the lack of weaponry that Allen has. But like as a pure runner, like he is really seeing it extremely well this year. So that's one of the things that I would look for from the Bills' perspective. I think it is going to be one of those like heavier game plans. We saw the Bears be able to take advantage of like some personnel usage and like getting the Steelers linebackers on the field and then throwing the ball, and then vice versa, getting them into nickel and then running the ball. And Ben Johnson had a really good feel for that. I don't know about Joe Brady. Like he's sometimes like, a little bit questionable in that regard, but it's going to be a really nice chess match because, they're significantly shorthanded. So
I don't even know. I guess we can just talk about him as if he's going to play. Listed as questionable. I think Dalton Kincaid is a massive piece of this, depending on whether or not he's going to be able to go. We talked about how bad their pass catchers are. He's their most talented pass catcher, tight end, or wide receiver. And we've seen the way the tight ends have handled the Steelers defense, quite frankly, this season. So what do we make of Dalton Kincaid? I mean, how big of an impact could he have in this one if he's able to go?
Yeah, I think the ability to play 2 tight ends, especially with both tackles being, and not that like Jackson Hawes is bad or unplayable, but he's nowhere near as good as the other 2. I think that really is something that Buffalo should want to do, has done in the past, did do against the Steelers last year. Oh no, it was 2 years ago. Sorry, in the playoffs, they ran a bunch of 2 tight ends. And you remember both those guys had a big game against the Steelers in the playoffs at the end of the 2023 season. And so I think if I'm Buffalo, I'm turning my attention to trying to find a way to have both those guys on the field most of the time. It'll help the running game. It'll help protect Allen. And there's no reason. I mean, Brandon Cooks is like one of their top 3 wide receivers after just signing this week. Like there's no reason to want to do that. Like who cares if Tyrell Shavers gets on the field? Like just, if Kincaid can play, it's huge for them. If he can't, it's a big loss.
DB.
Yeah, same. I mean, I think the thing about how the Steelers have really gotten shredded in the passing game this year, it's been a lot of like over the middle stuff when they've played like some of their zone coverage looks, and then really it's been taking advantage of matchups. They've really struggled against like wide receiver ones, but the Bills don't really have that. So it's one of those things where the Steelers kind of catch a bone a little bit in that regard. I mean, Kincaid is a really nice receiving weapon, like out of the slot, but Allen's top 2 receiving threats are going to be out of the slot. Like that's him and Shakir. They don't really have a lot on the boundary. The other thing that I would kind of be curious about that they lean into is not just James Cook as a runner, but James Cook as a receiver, like getting him matched up on some of the Steelers backers, especially if the Steelers continue to want to play some even front 3 backer stuff against like 12 personnel, like they have been in recent weeks. Like trying to get James Cook matched up on Malik Harrison would be something that I would anticipate them leaning into a little bit, kind of what Chicago did. So that's something to that I would keep in mind, just because I'm expecting some curveballs. Maybe another one could be last year. One of the things that the Bills did was actually like they were the first team, not the first team to ever do it, but the first team to lean into it this heavily with the 6 offensive line thing. They had Alec Anderson out there, and they've switched that with putting in Spencer Hawes because he gives them a little bit more receiving element. But I'm kind of wondering if it's like, if this is a game where they're saying like, look, we know we need to run the football, we put Anderson and Hawes. That's their two tight end package. That's how like I would look at it from an offensive coordinator perspective, especially because the Steelers haven't really stopped the run at a really high level this year.
Just 2 teams marching up the field 3 yards at a time and 13 personnel.
I love it.
In the snow.
I want it.
Love to see it.
I want it. I want it so bad.
Well, I was gonna say let's flip the script and talk about the Steelers offense. Like I said, DB and I were talking about the quarterback play in this Black Friday game between the Eagles and Bears, and he just said, I don't even know why the Bears are passing the ball, and said that he wanted to carry that conversation over to the Steelers offense in this upcoming game against the Bills. So take it away, DB. What do we think about the Steelers ground game?
What I think about the Steelers ground game is #run the damn ball. Like I sat there and watched this morning when I got home from work. I watched about like an hour worth of just like run cut ups from this Bills unit. This Bills defense is like almost unrecognizable to me. It's a lot of familiar faces because the Bills kind of like just bring back all these guys that have played for them forever. And it's a lot of guys, man, that just look like in decline athletically. The second level, the third level is slow. They are really slow. Misdirection, anything with involving motion, they're giving up 5.6 yards per play rushing on motion plays this year. They're one of the bottom 5 teams in terms of rushing success rate. They give up a ton of explosives. They do generate some stuffs behind the line of scrimmage. They got a bunch of guys that like to play downhill, but the motion, the misdirection stuff is kind of like, gets their second level players kind of looking like a cat, like trying to chase a laser almost is like what it reminds me of. But yeah, it's bad, man.
Has that shifted after the injury to Ed Oliver? Was that even the case before?
It's been that way all year. I mean, the thing about Oliver is they really miss him as a pass rusher more than anything else. And he does generate some disruption behind the line of scrimmage. Without Oliver, it's more snaps for Walker and Phillips, who are or Walker and Jones, who are like more bigger bodies. So that could help them a little bit. But you look at like I think one of the stats that really makes a lot of sense, like when you look at their defense, and it kind of speaks to like they don't get as many hats to the ball as I feel like they used to, and they don't tackle as well as they used to. And one of the numbers I wanted to look up was the yards after contact number. The Bills are allowing 4.3 yards after contact this year. That is over half a yard worse than the next worst defense in the entire NFL. So, like, the safety play, Cole Bishop's playing a little bit better, but, like, you just look at some of these guys that have been there forever, like, they're just slow now. I don't know if it's, like, guys are banged up or if it's just an age thing, but, like, Milano, Bernard, Poyer, even Taron Johnson, who I think has been one of the premier nickels in the league, like, they're just slow, like, really, really slow.
Alan, what do you have to add to that?
I just feel like this is a group, they don't blitz very often, down around 20% blitz rate. They do really well to get 4-man pressure with their front. Their front is very attack based, and I think a running back like Jaylen Warren is really, really well suited to press that. Like, guys get out of gaps and there's a lot of those like missed tackle plays where it's like, you're not like far out of your assignment, but it's just like you get off your base a little bit. You're trying to get upfield a little bit too fast, and then all of a sudden here's a really strong guy who's hard to tackle, low to the ground, and you can't get back the other direction to make a play. I can see him just shredding this Buffalo defense, honestly. But you do worry, I guess, if you're the Steelers, especially without Broderick Jones there, is can you pass protect? Like I think they can run the ball, and they're going to have to run the ball because I don't like if you're talking about a unit that's getting quick, easy pressure, and you got to. I want to talk about. I do not understand. Mike Tomlin said today Andrews Pete is going to start at left tackle.
We kind of glossed right over that, to be honest, when we did.
I don't understand this decision. Yeah. I don't agree with this decision. I can't explain it. Pete looked awful when he played tackle in the preseason. He hasn't even been dressed most of the year. Calvin Anderson was fine when he played last year. He was fine when he played last week. I don't understand what this decision is about.
The only thing that I think gives me solace is like the Steelers do give Broderick a lot of help on a weekly basis anyway. So it is like one of those things where I do trust Arthur Smith to craft a game plan and to give that guy help, even if like what you're saying is like 100% true, Alan. Like Andres Pete is not a tackle. Like he's not. Like I don't know that he ever really was like a starting caliber tackle, but like he's definitely not now. But Park and Darnell Washington over there. The interesting thing to me with Aaron is just like I know he's got the cast on and everything. It's just going to be interesting to me because like if he's wearing the cast, you can't hold a football with your left hand. So like, are they just going to go all pitches? I mean, they pitch the ball more than anyone else in the NFL anyway, so maybe it doesn't matter. But the thing about the like pitching the ball is like your play action game isn't as like fluent, I would say.
The cast only comes down to like the like about here. So
can he hold it?
Yeah, I don't know. Like I think he can hand the ball off.
That would be good.
I don't know about under center. I think that's
a
little more questionable.
If they could, the only thing I would say is like if they could get, even if it's from the pistol, like one of the things like Art used to run, and they ran a little bit of like same side stuff that kind of like functions the same way, same side counter and things like that. But when he was in Atlanta, they would run a lot of like wind-back counter, and like I've seen multiple explosive runs pop against this Bills unit with that wind-back action. So that would, I want to say Sean Tucker ripped a 43-yard touchdown a couple weeks ago, if I remember correctly. I think that was on wind back. So that's the only thing is like I just don't want to get into a situation where it's like you become a little bit predictable because of like what Aaron can or can't do in terms of like handing the ball off or taking it under center. But I mean, this is going to be a game, in my opinion, where like if they don't turn the ball over through the air, it's going to come down to like whichever team runs the football better. I just that's how I kind of see it.
I feel like we do have to bring up the pass game, though. I mean, the Bills are allowing the fewest passing yards per game in the league this year, 168.2. We spent so much time, obviously, talking about the rushing attack and how they should obviously run the offense through that. The Bills giving up the third most rushing yards per game. Do you have any hope for this passing attack against the Bills defense? Start with Alan for this one.
Yeah, I think without Terrell Bernard in there, I don't think Jordan Poyer is the player that he used to be. Matt Milano's okay in coverage, but I think the Steelers' tight ends look like a weapon. I think their backs out of the backfield look like a weapon here. I do like Buffalo's corners. They're not like necessarily physically dominant players, but I mean, I don't know that the Steelers really just have the horses to take advantage of that.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think they can win in kind of their bread and butter, which is just little passes to the tight end, check downs to the running backs, and make, I don't know who's going to play at linebacker, Dorian Williams and Shaq Thompson and Joe Andreessen. Like, I think they can make those guys run around and chase little quick guys and then let Darnell Washington get on people. And I think that's an area of the field they should feel like they can win in.
Is Joe Andreessen the dude that, like, in the preseason game here, like, we were like, who in the world?
He he started his career with that game pretty much. He was not making the team, and now he's on his second season.
Unbelievable. Yeah, that's probably the best preseason game I've ever watched from a player.
He was ridiculous.
Just unbelievable performance in that one. DB, any signs of life for the Steelers passing attack in this? Well, so we mentioned with Andrus Peat, maybe I understand giving extra attention there. I mean, they would even if it was Broderick for sure, but a good way to slow down the pass rush is maybe in the screen game anyway. So maybe, if Buffalo's pass rushers are winning, that's a way that they could slow down, Rousseau, Bosa, the likes of those guys.
Yeah, a lot of that is just kind of goes back to what I was just saying about like the lack of team speed from Buffalo's perspective. I mean, getting the ball out to the perimeter, spin it out there on screens and things like that, using your athletic guys to get out there in space like Fautanu, Washington, things like that would be good. I would say also if you can like down near the red zone, Aaron likes to throw the ball like near the goal line anyway. I would definitely say that they're going to have the advantage in some of those situations on like some quick hitters, like some slants and things like that. I've seen teams like really struggle or really get after Buffalo a little bit down there in short yardage and things like that, like quick slants, especially like guys like Trey White who just don't move the same way as they used to. Even a guy like Maxwell Harrison, really, really good athlete, but he is a little bit of a gambler and still kind of like figuring it out in terms of like when he has to play a little bit closer to the line of scrimmage. So, yeah, I mean, do I have a ton of faith in the Pittsburgh Steelers passing attack? No, it's week 13. Like that ship has sailed for me. But can they be competent enough if the run game dominates? Like I don't see any reason why they couldn't, even with a backup tackle, because I have faith in them to, try to scheme around it a little bit.
Anything that wasn't said about, any of these units that we haven't said yet?
I don't think so.
Okay. It's bold prediction time. DB, I hope that you got yours ready in advance. I'm not going to throw it to you right away. I'm just, sometimes you think of these things on the fly. I'm going to start.
Not sometimes, always.
I'm going to start. I'll go. We'll go defense here first. Because of the tackle situation, I think everybody thinking about the edge rushers. I think they're going to create a ton of pressure. Allen steps up into the pocket. Y.A. Black, first career sack in this one. Going to see an advanced role with Derek Harmon out. Y.A. Black gets his first NFL sack.
That's pretty bold.
Thank you.
I like it. It's a big week for Y.A. Just got married. His first start.
Yeah, a lot of people making a lot of the caption that the Steelers went with for his to congratulate them.
Yeah.
You could have said, congrats to YA, and I don't know what his now wife's first name is, but you could have said that. So they just said the last name. So a lot of people making something of that on social media, but neither here nor there. Hopefully, yeah, let's finish it. Let's get your first sack in the NFL and keep it rolling.
Go ahead, DB.
So I'm gonna say Jaylen Warren. Do I want to go with Jaylen Warren and Gainwell, or do I just want to go Jaylen Warren?
Whoa, we're on defense here for the Steelers.
Are we on defense? Sorry, I actually have a really good one for my offensive projection.
I can tell you're excited to talk about it.
My defensive prediction is that I really want to bet. I was gonna take the YA one. I'm gonna actually say something different though. I'm gonna say that the Steelers forced 2 fumbles in this game. One of them off Josh Allen, and then one of them off some receiver that they got playing, whether it's like Brandon Cooks, Keon Coleman. I'm gonna say they get 2 fumbles in this game. I don't know if they're gonna recover both of them. But Allen's been so loose with the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, they have to play. I mean, I think they're going to have to dress him, right? Like, there's Josh Palmer. I don't think he's going to go.
Dave Davis is they signed him off the practice squad to the 53.
Yeah,
and Curtis Samuel on IR. So
they just released Elijah Moore. I mean, I guess he's got to play.
Yeah. All right. So there you go. I actually almost went with so I settled on the YA one. Did the math. Steelers averaging about 3 sacks per game right now, and I was just saying they double that in this one, but
yeah,
I didn't want to do that to them. Go ahead, Alan.
I think that the Steelers defense is gonna play zone. I think they're gonna leave a guy in the middle of that zone that doesn't have much to do besides keep an eye on Josh Allen and or double up on Cooks. I think that the Steelers will hold Josh Allen under 25 rushing yards.
Ooh,
I can see that.
okay. I'm curious as to what his numbers are on a per game basis this year. Because he could easily get that on one. I mean, that is, I feel like, bold because you're taking the gamble of that could happen on one carry for
Literally
him.
could do it on one carry. He's averaging 37 yards a game in his career, 33.7 this year. So I'm well under the under, but under enough to be bold, but not crazy.
Yeah. I mean, that's at or under. Or I'm saying, sorry, there's 3 games this year where he's been at or under that.
Yeah.
So, okay. All right. I like it. DB, you were so excited about your offensive one. I'll let you start.
Yeah, the Steelers' highest total rushing yards this year is 186. The Bills have allowed that mark or worse 5 times this year, including a couple of their losses. I'm going to say that the Steelers run for more than 186 rushing yards in this one, en route to my prediction. That's my bold prediction.
The Steelers running for a bunch of yards in the snow against Buffalo. It's bringing back 2000, what was that, 14 vibes. That was obviously in Buffalo, but still.
That was a
the same type of
game from him.
Yeah.
Golly, that was great.
Mm-hmm. Alan, you want to go next?
No, you go.
Okay. So I actually I feel like I've been struggling to come up with offensive ones, especially when I feel like there is such a clear area to be attacked with the opposite defense, which is why I'm going to go with the Steelers have a rushing touchdown from this one from a non-running back. So Jonnu Smith,
Rodgers,
Connor Hayward. Actually, Rodgers might be like 3rd or 4th on my list. It could be Jonnu, it could be Connor Hayward. Let me throw in there maybe like Calvin Austin on a sweep or something like that could potentially happen. I guess Roman Wilson could even be in the same vein. Heck, DK Metcalf could also do that. So I'm going to say a non-running back scores a rushing touchdown for the Steelers in this one.
That's good. This is going to sound dumb.
Okay.
But I promise you it is actually bold. Something the Steelers have not done since week 8 and have only done, I think, a handful of times all season. Aaron Rodgers completion over 20 air yards. I think.
Whoa! Settle down now, Alan. Settle down. You're getting a little crazy. I know it's the holidays. What's in the cup over there? What's in the cup? We got a little bourbon.
Dipping into the eggnog right after Thanksgiving.
Yeah, don't get too crazy now.
It's funny that you said like I mean, I would put it up there with our bold predictions. I mean, does Jonnu have a rushing touchdown after that?
Yes. No, he had that pop pass, but it doesn't count as a rushing touchdown.
Okay.
They're gonna get Jonnu's touches. You have to. So
yeah,
you got to.
Absolutely. I have gone to now switch gears here and do our final score predictions. I started out this week, and I understand probably because, like I said, I have admittedly been riding the roller coaster more than I typically do with the Steelers season. So, like, I was at such a low point following this past week's Bears game where I wasn't even giving them a chance early in the week to win this football game. I've gone back and forth as the week's gone on, and obviously the tactical situation has a big part to do with it. Going back and watching some stuff like DB's talking about here with the way that you can run the ball on this team, really not good defending the perimeter. They're so slow. I feel like I'm watching the Steelers defend the Houston Texans in 2023, watching the Bills defense at times. I think the Steelers win this football game. I have completely flipped on the way that I feel about this game. And maybe I am riding the high too much of this Baltimore Ravens loss last night, but I just think the good vibes keep on coming this weekend for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They win this one 24-20.
Go ahead, Alan.
I was worried that we were all going to pick them to lose. And now I'm worried that we're all going to pick them to win. I agree. I am also picking the Steelers to win this game. I feel like it's been a year where every time you want to write them out, they've found a way to come back. I think Buffalo is a deeply average football team. I don't think they're good at very much other than Josh Allen and James Cook, and they don't seem to be great at maximizing their strengths either. I like the Steelers at home. I like the Steelers as home underdogs, where Mike Tomlin has an incredible record. And I feel like I said it on what was it, post game, Smitty, or was it Monday? This roller coaster has some more ups and downs to it. The ride is not over yet. I'm not sure it's going to mean much in the long run, but I think they're going to win this one. I got the Steelers winning 23-20.
I actually took the roller coaster thing and turned it into basically a full episode of Around the 412 this past week, where I said, I get that it is a roller coaster for a lot of teams. I think the frustration with the fans has boiled over to a point just because it feels like it's the Thunderbolts over and over again, specifically as the roller coaster that's being ridden. But DB, what are we thinking? Please don't do this, by the way.
So last week I hinted that I really felt like the Steelers and the Bears were like similar teams and like the way that they win. I think I'm going to do something that's never been done before on Steelers Afternoon Drive. Are you ready for this?
No, I don't think, but
okay.
I'm ready.
I am going to say that the Steelers and the Bills tie 20-20.
Oh, wow.
20-20. Both of these teams run for like a bajillion yards, and it is the most frustrating tie. No one feels good at the end of the day, but that's really like, honestly, as I'm trying to be funny with my prediction, but at the same time, like, I don't think the Steelers are a good football team. I agree that the Bills are a flawed football team. There's a chance that the Steelers do get waxed in this one. I would have predicted that going into the season just because of like how the Steelers defense typically performs against these like alien quarterbacks. But the NFL has been weird this year. Like a lot of the best quarterbacks like have really poor environments around them. And that's what Josh Allen's going to be dealing with on Sunday. There's a chance he puts the cape on, but I think it's going to be a lot for him to like just have a superstar type of performance like we've seen him have against this defense in the past. So I'm going to say it's going to be a tie, 20-20. The Steelers are going to hang around just long enough so they can creep in to that Week 18 matchup with the Ravens. That's my prediction.
I do expect the Steelers to find a way to not play a meaningless game, no matter what.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Like I feel very strong.
Someone has to win.
First of all, no one in this conference is going to pull away. So like even if they're just 500 the rest of the way, they'll still be in it.
I know it's not possible, but if what DB is saying is going to play out, can they just let me know ahead of time and I'm not showing up? Like,
what? You don't think a tie against the Bills would be a good result for the Steelers? Come on,
it would be. I'm anti-tie.
You're anti-tie.
I want it. I want to tie so badly this Sunday. Just for
I'm glad.
I understand it is best. Time. I understand it is better for the Steelers, certainly, to tie in this football game than
I think sometimes you just need to tie. Sometimes nobody deserves to win.
I'd give them both a loss. Sorry, guys. No, I will say one thing that you said in there about like there being a chance, DB, for the Bills to just like totally. I don't see that. Like, I don't think that that's possible for either team to do in this one. I actually think it's more plausible for them to tie than the Bills like completely roll in this one.
It is kind of weird though, because like it hasn't happened as much recently, but I mean, 2 weeks ago, the Bills put up 44 points on the Bucs. So like, even though they're down both their tackles, like they could, it's not unbelievable. Like Allen is still Josh Allen, and they didn't even run the ball like a ton in that game specifically. They just had a really good like game plan for like bowls in general. So, we'll see what happens, but I definitely wouldn't bet on it happening. It would probably be like more like kind of what Herbert was able to do to them, where it's like, can he make those like 3 or 4 clutch plays, like that play that Herbert like pinned on McConkey when Eccles has the tight coverage and like a big moment, like they end up pulling away late in the game like that. But honestly, I don't think I just think that the Steelers are going to be able to keep this one close just because I don't think Buffalo is going to stop the run in this one. The worst
good
case
context for me with saying I don't think that, like, because of the weather conditions at play, I just can't see it being a super high pace.
I don't know nothing about. I'll be honest. I don't know nothing about the weather. I don't live in Pittsburgh, so I don't look at the weather until the game comes on Sunday. So
40 degrees and light rain.
I love that. I love it.
Yeah. No snow in the forecast now.
It's not supposed to be snowing during the game. No.
Okay. All right. Well, all right. We'll get there when we get there. Let us know your predictions, obviously, both your bold and your final score predictions in the comments. No one has the Bills winning, but DB, for the first time in show history, is predicting a tie. So I guess if you're on board with him, let us know. But we're also going to need some help from the comments because we can't, across the board, not have the Bills winning. So somebody in the comments, please predict the Bills to win. So we're not completely iced out on that. You guys know the drill. DB, tell people they can find you.
At Steelers_DB on Twitter and YouTube. You can find all my written work at SteelersNow.com. I'll actually be writing, I'm almost done with it, something about the Steelers offensive line and run game headed into this weekend. So that'll be up tomorrow morning.
There we go. And Alan, tell the people they could find you. And I know also you got to plug the 50% off sale going on.
Yeah, Saunders_PGH on X, Instagram, TikTok, and Blue Sky. PGH Steelers Now sites account, SteelersNow.com. Go there. We are having a 50% off sale from today through Monday. So Black Friday to Cyber Monday, 50% off an annual subscription. It's normally $40. Now it's $20. That's stupid cheap. You get all the best stuff from me, DB, and the rest of the Steelers Now team. You get ad-free reading at SteelersNow.com. Our subs-only live streams here on the YouTube platform. And as always, the undying love and appreciation of me and the rest of the team, as we love y'all. The subscribers are where it's all at. You can use the promo code Black Friday 25 if you're checking out. That's also on all of our social medias as well. So yeah, definitely do that. And we also have active now for the first time gift subscriptions when you go into membership tab. So if you already got one, you want to give somebody else, you got a nephew, an uncle, a cousin, a brother, somebody you think would enjoy, dad, whatever, somebody you would think you'd enjoy the product at SM Plus, you just you can put their email address in and they can receive the email directly, or you can get a gift code to give them and they can input it later. Either way, so gift subscriptions, we're going to keep that active forever and ever, but I'm assuming here over the month of December that'll be something that more people are looking forward to.
All those scenarios, or you're a veteran that Zachary Smith said he wanted to get the subscription to and you haven't reached out yet, that would also apply for those people as well. There was like 10 different people that commented about it, and then like none of them have reached out to me. So, and I haven't seen any of them specifically in the YouTube comments as I've worked through, but still on the table. So please reach out to me. $20 right now, 12 months. If my math is correct, it's less than $2 a month. So pretty insane deal going on right now. Be sure to take advantage of it. 17,000. And do we got a good number? 60. In Steelers history.
Currently Dylan Cook.
Yeah. And I believe long snapper Greg Warren.
Yeah, that's a good one.
60.
That's a good one. Brian Blankenship is the one I feel like I've named before here when we've done 60.
Outside of
backup
Warren,
center guard in the late 80s, early 90s. I'm having a hard time coming up with another one though.
It's not good. It's not good, folks.
Wasn't there long snapper Greg Warren? Wasn't he 60?
Yeah, that's one Smitty just said.
Oh, sorry. What did you say that?
This guy, he's ready for the weekend, folks.
I'm checked out. I was looking for number 60s, and I was like sitting there thinking to myself, like, that's the only one that I can remember.
Yep, good stuff.
JC Hassenauer.
Oh yeah,
a legend, an absolute legend.
Man, him and John the Glue, Steelers lore forever.
Yeah.
Anyways, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, hit us in the comments your thoughts, anything we talked about, question for a future episode, of course, those predictions. And then if you're listening somewhere else, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast from, we are there. Just search Steelers Afternoon Drive, leave us a 5-star review, and subscribe while you are there. You'll find me everywhere, Zachary Smith, PGH, Saunders, Derrick Bell, and myself. Thanks for jumping in. Take another ride on the Steelers Afternoon Drive.